think what I have a problem with, what we all should have a problem with, the people who know better. When we get talking about politics, me, Charles Woods, or CW, or Chuck, or whatever you like to call me, I learned about politics through a man named Larry Hoover. I learned about politics because that's the agenda he pushed on the man of growth and development. That's the agenda he began to push and teach us about politics. About going out to vote. About getting your own people in office. About getting somebody in office that's going to represent your neighborhoods, represent your community, represent the causes that you have a problem with, represent you in the White House fairly, represent you in Congress and the Senate fairly. This the agenda he began to push. See, when Mr. Larry Hoover came with 21st Century Vote, you don't like to talk about that. Because why? 21st Century Vote had young black men out there lobbying. Had young black men out there pushing the vote, getting people out to vote, knocking on doors, standing in front of schools, giving the people information on who to vote for. I was one of them. This is true. So we don't talk about the good. We don't talk about the man who was really out there in the streets, in the grind, really doing the right thing. Men like me, men like Crusher, we get overlooked. Because why? We are men about the business. Well, as I told y'all in one of my videos a while back, they call us, they say, hey, the guys, free the guys. The guys. See, the reason I'm talking about Mr. Larry Hoover because the reason I'm talking about Mr. Larry Hoover and politics is because when Mr. Larry Hoover got into politics, began to push the agenda of a political movement, that's in fact what got him indicted by the federal government. That's in fact why Mayor Daley in Chicago, Illinois, began to panic. Because he realized how much juice Mr. Larry Hoover held in prison that could unseat him in the mayor office of Chicago. So he called on his federal cronies to begin to investigate Mr. Larry Hoover. This is true. Research it. But this is the problem I have is when we begin to compare a person like Mr. Larry Hoover, who built the movement from sitting inside a state prison, for over 20 years, and build an organization from gangster disciple into growth into development, and teach men about politics, education, economics, and then we began to compare him to a man like Big Meech. Like, how do we compare Mr. Larry Hoover to Big Meech? How do we put them in the same category? It's impossible. Larry Hoover was never a drug dealer. Larry Hoover never sold crack. Larry Hoover was a simple leader that guided men either, hey, you're going to do right, and if you don't do right, then you're going to get punished for your wrong. Real simple. See, yeah, Mr. Larry Hoover might have started off gangster disciple, talking that gangster talk, instilling the fear of God in you. No different than America do. Be on that gangster shit, then come back and talk pastor to you. You want war? We're going to bring you war. You going to listen? You going to bow? Then we're going to bring you peace. Same tactics Mr. Larry Hoover did. They want to punish him. To my point, the point being is that Big Meech haven't transformed his thoughts or his thinking to the people. He not uplifting the minds of the men. We study praising the man because he was getting big money, selling big dope, riding big cars, partying like there's no tomorrow. But yet, not feeding the men something of substance. Not transforming the thought of man to get them an understanding that, hey, we got to get the movement back together on the right track. You got to think, it's infinite Big Meeches. I knew plenty of Big Meeches before it was Big Meech. Before we ever heard of Big Meech. I knew many of Big Meeches. I'm telling you the truth. I could call out names. But some of them, if I call out names right now, some of them probably get indicted by the feds.